it's you. You're here. Thanks for coming back for chapter 20, called Pragmatism, and the book is called The Flower of Freedom by me, Deborah Reeves. It's presented with all the rights reserved to both the book and the presentation, so please settle in. Your burdens are just perfect outside the door. You don't need them right now. Come, relax, settle for a couple minutes, and be happy. Are you ready? So am I. Here we go. Chapter 20, Pragmatism. On the way home that evening, Colette said, "We'll miss her too, Bertie, but then soon we'll have to miss you when you go off to university next year." Turning to Marie, she said, "We were counting on your help to make him study once he was away." That broke some of the tension as they drove home from the barbecue that night, but they were still sad, knowing that the deal was nearly sealed and that their little Marie was no longer their very own Marie. Marie called her great uncle the next day after the barbecue meeting. She thanked him for many of the things that he had agreed to and told him that it was a very painful transition for her. She told him that everyone who knew them thought she and Bertie were twins, and they had been together since she was born, on every school trip and in every class until that moment. There had been one exception, she admitted. She had taken mandatory home economics, and he had taken industrial arts, because her school would not allow a girl to take industrial arts. She explained how much they hated being separated. The great uncle seemed somewhat human when he told Marie that in France they had an additional winter break, and that perhaps Bertie could join her on her winter skiing vacation if they could coordinate their school schedules. Because he seemed to understand a bit of how she felt, she agreed to his terms, and she agreed to arrive at Charles de Gaulle Airport on a specified day in July if Bertie could fly with her. Her great uncle said that he would have his lawyer, one Monsieur Abbott, draft the contract and send it to her lawyer. He finished by saying that his brother would have been very proud that his granddaughter wanted to be a doctor. He shared that his brother was a highly intelligent man and that he had been interested in people. It was one of the areas where we were very different. "I have always been interested in finance," he told her. The final weeks in Montreal were filled with gatherings and with friends. Marie wanted to fill her heart with all of the people she loved. She thought that it was like topping up her batteries so that she would be self-powered throughout the coming year. Marie wouldn't admit it to anyone, so she tried to power through by putting on a happy face. She promised to write, and she extracted promises from everyone so that they would write to her. She met with her school friends and friends from clubs and from music, but she feared that they would all forget her the moment she left, or shortly after. As the time grew closer to her departure, she felt a creeping fear in her heart that everyone would simply forget her. Her mother began to guess what she was afraid of, and she attempted to combat it. She acknowledged that in some cases that outcome was likely. "You know how some of them can be, Marie. That doesn't make them bad. It just means that they're trying hard to focus on every moment in which they are living, so that they do not have room in their awareness for anyone who is not in their immediate vicinity. At the same time, you also know that there are others who will never forget you no matter where you go." Her papa overheard their conversation then, and he walked past Mama as he took Marie into his arms in one of his perfect papa hugs. He whispered into her ear, "Forget you? Not possible. I'm having trouble adapting to the changes, that's true, but I'll get there, Marie. I'm drawing my strength from your certainty that this is the right course for your life. If you get shaky now, I'm afraid that I will lose control and go back to France in resistance fighter mode. I love you. I have loved you from the moment the nurses put your little body into my arms. Maybe it was even before then, when Dr. Donovan told me that Anne-Marie had insisted on naming you after my mother. Your dying mother remembered that I had suggested that one of your mothers should name a baby girl after my mother, who was a fine person. Imagine! That's how kind, how considerate, how generous Anne-Marie was. I remember seeing your little face peeking out from the blankets and winter clothes that the nurses had put you in so that I could take you home. You were only hours old. I remember exactly what I said to you then. I said, "Welcome to this beautiful world, little Marie. I will be your papa, and we will explore it together. I'm just having a little trouble coming to terms with the fact that you will be exploring the world on your own, without me to protect you now. I know that it's selfish, but I don't want my role as your father to be over. You are my daughter. I have loved you being your father with every beat of my heart from the moment I first met you. You, Colette, and Bertie are the great treasures of my life. I will never forget you. Just don't you forget us." That's the end of the short version of Chapter 20 of The Flower of Freedom by Deborah J. Reeves. And that's me. And I'm always happy to see you. Please come again for Chapter 21. That's called Uprooting. Have a wonderful day.